Today's Q&A with Q&A is all about our first commercially available barrel-aged beer, Bourbon Barrel Quad. I'm Adam Hall, brand manager of Boulevard Brewing Company, and with me is Quinn Reeder, our barrel aging manager. Kansas City is home to the best barbecue in the world, but there's another BBQ that we're known for. Many years ago, we started making a quadruple ale called the 6 Glass, and our brewers wondered what it would be like to take this big, boozy Belgian quad and age it in whiskey barrels. Quinn, can you tell us a little bit about Bourbon Barrel Quad, or BBQ as we affectionately refer to it around here?
So as you said, the beer starts out as a really great traditional Belgian Quadruple Ale. And what we do is we choose bourbon barrels to age this in. And at the end of the packaging and what you're going to be drinking out of the bottle is a really well balanced quad that has notes of bourbon coming off the nose.
So we keep saying bourbon, it's in the name, Bourbon Barrel Quad. Why specifically bourbon barrels and not any other type of whiskey?
Right, so we decided to do bourbon basically from the notes that you get rather than whiskey or some other type of spirit like a rye, because we like the depth and the notes that bourbon gives it a little bit more of a smoothness, and it complements the sweetness on the back of the quad that we use for this beer.
As I smelled this beer, I'm also picking up a little something else. So not only do you add this big, beautiful Belgian quad to these barrels, but you also add something else in the process. Can you talk about that?
Right, so during the aging of this beer, about 3 or 4 months before we process or package, we will add cherries into the barrels and let them age with the beer for an additional 3 to 4 months before we bring this out into a bottle to the customers.
I think that cherry comes out, it's very subtle. I mean, I get a lot of that Belgian candy syrup on the nose. I get a lot of those esters that are driven by that Belgian yeast, but also that whiskey nature is right there, kind of presents a great backbone to kind of support this big, boozy, effervescent beer. That cherry puree, the quad going to the barrels, all of that is done by hand by you and your team, correct?
Whenever we're doing beers like this, everything has to be by hand. There's no way to kind of do any type of shortcut. There's no way to do anything else. The romance still is in the process of making this beer. So I have to make sure that my team is, I think, the best in the industry.
So you choose the barrels, your team handles the barrels, you hand fill, you hand empty, you hand add the cherry puree. I mean, that's a lot of work for you and your team.
It is for sure, but we're all very passionate about what we make, and everything that we do here is kind of to just show that we can make a perfectly well-balanced beer that is aged like any smaller brewery could do, but we can do it at a size that we do.
And that's incredible given the consistency batch to batch for BBQ, as it is a year-round offering. So cheers to you and your team for doing such a bang-up job.
Cheers.
Cheers.